John Carlson's timely career year could cost the Capitals big time. Capitals teammates and friends, Brooks Orpik and John Carlson talk every day. About family. About hockey. About what's been on their minds lately. But for all those conversations, one subject has not been broached: Carlson's expiring contract. He hasn't mentioned it once, to be honest with you, Orpik said. And if he's not going to bring it up, I'm certainly not going to bring it up. It's an elephant in the room of Washington's season. What will the team do about Carlson? Before the season even started, Carlson and his agent, Rick Curran of the Orr Hockey Group, discussed Carlson's murky future. "Just play hockey," Curran told him. That much. Carlson has done well, second among NHL defensemen in points with 4 goals and 27 assists while averaging a career-high 26 hours 20 minutes on the ice per game. Caps could reunite slumping Oshie with Ovechkin and Backstrom, but while Carlson has authored the best first half to a season in his career, contract talks between the Capitals and his camp have stayed quiet. Curran said the two sides haven't had any discussions yet, something Curran expects to change in the coming weeks now that it's later in the year and the trade deadline is approaching at the end of February. Curran said he, and more importantly Carlson, understand that the team's salary cap constraints are why Washington has yet to express interest in an extension. After the Capitals awarded lengthy and costly contracts to T.J. Oshie, Evgeny Kuznetsov and Dmitry Orlov this summer, roughly 60% of the team's current $75 million salary cap is tied up in 7 players through at least the 2019-20 season, according to CapFriendly.com. Carlson's current cap hit is just south of $4 million, and if he were to hit the open market on July 1, he'd be the best defenseman available, due for a significant pay raise. But for the Capitals to keep Carlson, something that seems increasingly likely with how well he's played, Washington would likely have to give the soon-to-be 28-year-old a maximum 8-year term, committing even more of the salary cap to one small core of players. Even if the salary cap increases next year, to accommodate Carlson the Capitals might have to shed salary for a second year in a row and part with other pending free agents they'd otherwise prefer to keep. But with no defenseman in the organization ready to ascend to Carlson's role, and external free agent options not particularly attractive to replace the all-situations blue liner, they might not have a choice. "I know what his hopes and his desires are," Curran said. "It's not something I've been thinking about," Carlson said last month. "From my standpoint, that's not going to change. I'm just focusing on playing hockey and let the other stuff take care of itself. There'll be a time for all that, and that's when I'll deal with that. That's what your agent does, find what the value should be and all that. I haven't looked into any of that stuff." At the midpoint of the season, Carlson is on pace to finish with more than 60 points, which would have placed him 4th among defensemen in scoring last season, behind Ottawa's Erik Karlsson, San Jose's Brent Burns and Tampa Bay's Victor Hedman. As a comparison, Burns signed an 8-year, $64 million contract extension with the Sharks well before he could reach free agency, a figure similar to the 8-year, $63 million deal Hedman signed with the Lightning a year before he could hit the open market. First-place Caps are riding high, but there's a glaring warning sign ahead. Defenseman Kevin Shattenkirk, Washington's trade deadline acquisition last year, tallied 13 goals and 43 assists last season, the top blue liner in this most recent free agent class. Shattenkirk garnered a $6.65 million annual cap hit on the open market. But to play for his hometown New York Rangers, Shattenkirk sacrificed on term, signing a 4-year deal when he could have gotten 7 years elsewhere. "I think every player will tell you that's what they're looking for, to get their worth," Shattenkirk said last month. "You look at comparables and all that kind of stuff and you have a notion in your mind of where you're going to sign and what the number's going to be. But I also think that there's a lot of pride in suiting up with a team and giving them a chance to win and being somewhere that you feel comfortable, and sometimes you can't put a dollar sign on that. When Carlson scored 12 goals and 43 assists during the 2014-15 season, he got some Norris Trophy votes as one of the league's best defensemen. Oft injured the past 2 years, his production slipped, but he could get the first All-Star nod of his career thanks to his well-timed resurgence this season. Carley's had to play a lot of minutes, a lot of important minutes, Capitals coach Barry Trotz said. I think he's either 2 or 3 in the league and scoring all of the time here. He should get some recognition, absolutely. I think it's long overdue. Devon Smith-Pelly has turned into a pleasant surprise for Barry Trotz and the Capitals. Trotz said that on Tuesday morning, roughly 7 hours before Washington's game against Carolina, when an errant pass by Carlson in front of the Capitals' net resulted in the first Hurricanes goal. But by the time the game was over, Carlson had skated a season-high 30 hours 51 minutes in the 5-4 overtime win, and Trotz said he thought Carlson played outstanding. As fellow right-shot defenseman Matt Niskanen has been injured for 14 games this season, Carlson has showcased his value to the team, quarterbacking the top power play while often facing top competition at even strength and also logging the most shorthanded time on ice per game. Washington lost mobile defenseman Nate Schmidt in the Las Vegas expansion draft this summer, and the organization then parted with veteran free agents Karl Lausner and Shattenkirk, so the Capitals are already breaking in 2 rookies on the blue line this season. The organization has a strong prospect pool of defensemen, but none are ready to play on a top pairing in the NHL. Acquiring someone who is more suited to that role through trade or free agency could be just as costly as re-signing Carlson. There's some guys who I think, an expiring contract, kind of pushes them to have a really good season, and there's other guys that they put too much pressure on themselves and it works against them, Orpik said. Johnny's a pretty laid-back guy. If you just watch the way he handles himself, there's not too many things that worry him. I think because of that kind of personality, it probably works to his advantage. Read more. Rookie defenseman Christian Djouz's patience has quickly impressed his Capitals teammate Andrei Burakovsky after healthy scratch. I have to learn to get more mentally strong. Caps close the year in first place after handling ups